All right, welcome back. The next organizational tool that I would like to talk to you about is referred to as classes. If you are an AutoCAD user, you may think of them as layers, right? But a Vectorworks class, I want you to think of a Vectorworks class as a style, maybe like a font style in Microsoft Word. In Photoshop, it's going to be an object style. It's going to be something that you are going to draw a type of line, a type of object that you may draw many times and you want it to repeat so that it looks the same every time that you draw it. So let's take a look at this classes menu real quick. So here we go in classes. We'll open up the classes, right? And so here is the class menu. By default, a new drawing, any drawing, is going to have two classes. The first is none, and the next one is dimensions. Dimensions are there for measuring, and none is there as a default for measuring. So let's go down and we'll just click a new class, and I'm just going to call this thick, if I could spell, thick lines, and I'm going to say OK. Now, there is a box at the bottom and it says edit properties at creation. I tend to like to have that box checked, and I keep it checked because as soon as I create this new class, it will allow me to edit it. Right? So now I'm going to create, here is that class, and now I can edit it. It is very similar to the attributes palette that is on the main drawing page. It's almost identical, actually. We are just defining this information by class. The first box I want to check, and always check right at the top, is use at creation. Whatever this style is that I defined for this, I want to go ahead and use it every time I select it. So now I'm going to go over, here's my pen style of solid, my color is black, the thickness is a 0.5, and since this is a thick line, I'm going to go ahead and make it really thick and call it a 1.4. And then I'll say OK. Right? Now, let's go ahead and just make another one. And I'm going to go ahead and say new. I'm going to call this one medium lines. Medium lines. And then make sure that the edit properties after creation, I'll say OK. I am going to click use at creation. And now I'm going to pick a line type that's somewhere in between. I'm going to, since that was a 0.05 is my normal, why don't we say, I don't know, a 0.5 for our medium lines, and I'll say OK. There is always a class selected. When it's like a tool, there has to be a class, there will always be a class selected. Right now we have our 4 classes, and you can see that our check mark out here shows that our none class is selected. By clicking in the column where the check marks are, I can change what class is selected, right? So that was none selected, and let's go down to our thick lines and say OK. I am now going to be drawing in my thick line class, and when I do that, you can see that the lines that I'm drawing are now those thick, heavy lines. That's very much in contrast to the none class that I was using before. Now, let's go in and I'll show you how you can change classes quickly. Next to the classes icon, there is a classes pull down box. And if I click that pull down, you can see that they are all listed here. And I'm going to now select my medium lines. You can see that medium lines is the active class. And now when I draw, anything, you can see that my medium line, that line weight is being used as medium. Yes? Does this make sense? Right, and you're wondering, well, why don't I just change the objects, as I go, and then I can make them whatever I want. There is a power to this. Let's go back and change back to our thick lines, and I'll draw a circle. Right, so that's a thick line or circle. I can draw an oval. And now I've drawn a lot of objects under my thick lines if I zoom out. Now, okay, I have finished my entire drawing and I've done thousands of lines as the thick lines, and I suddenly realized that the thick lines are too thick. When they print, they're just too fat. It's impossible for people to measure. What I can do now is I can go back into my classes, right? I can look at my thick lines and now say edit. And instead of a 0.14, maybe I want them just to be a 0.7. And I say, okay, okay. And if you'll look, this automatically updated every object that has been drawn on that class, right? So classes allow you to make global changes to how that drawing is going to look. We're going to talk a little more about classes in the next video, but that's it for now.